On what basis do you think Sir Mark Rowley, the Met Police Chief, has decided there's no credible threat of trouble tomorrow? And secondly, if he has decided this, why has he cancelled all leave, called in thousands of other officers from all over Britain and pledged to put a ring of steel around the cenotaph? This does not strike me as the actions of a police chief who doesn't fear there's going to be any trouble.
I'm going to answer the second question first, if I may. And the reason Sir Mark Rowley has called in officers from each point north, south, east and west of the UK to make sure that there is as little disturbance tomorrow, as little trouble as can possibly be quelled, because his head is on the chopping block. Quite simply, earlier this week, when he trashed the reputation of the once noble Metropolitan Police, or should I say the world-renowned Metropolitan Police, by ordering that a begging letter be written to the organisers. And that's what it was. That's how far the Met fell this week, asking for them, please don't have your march, to which, of course, the organisers said, no, we're going ahead with it. Yeah. That was really the start of the rise of people from the far right saying a call to arms, in essence, come and protect the cenotaph, because it was rightly perceived as an act of weakness. And those people, I'm convinced, felt, well, look, the Met are showing that they're probably not going to be able to protect the things that are sacred, Remembrance Sunday, the cenotaph and the such like. And so, whilst so many people are getting their knickers in a twist over what Suella Braverman said, really, the start of the disquiet from those on the far right began with that pathetic letter. To answer your first question, there will, of course, be intelligence analysis and officers gathering information about any mass mobilisation of people coming to London to disrupt the march tomorrow. And as yet, we have to take Sir Mark Rowley at his word that there is not sufficient information or intelligence to indicate that there will be large-scale disorder, which is why he has not, somewhat ironically, applied to the Home Secretary to have the march banned.
Just a quick last question. I mean, I ain't no expert, but a lot of citizens of this country are looking at what's coming up tomorrow. You know, we've got various groups saying they're going to protect the cenotaph. We've got the pro-Palestinian mob saying, oh, our march goes ahead. It just seems to me very strange that a police chief should conclude there's no credible threat of trouble. I think London's going to kick off tomorrow big time.
If it does, Rowley will be gone by Monday, after only 14 months in charge. And there will be a search for yet another Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. And let me tell you, the talent pool they've got to recruit from is pretty shallow.
Dr Abdul, thank you so much for coming into the studio. Listening to the radio this morning and various reports on broadcast in newspapers, people on, say, the right wing of politics are being urged, please don't go to the cenotaph. You know, some pretty angry and horrible people are likely to go there. Don't get yourself involved. Let the police do their job. At the same time, though, we've had UK intelligence suggesting that potentially up to half of the groups organising activism in these marches are connected to Hamas, and UK intelligence as well suggesting Iranian involvement in stirring up some of this activism. Should the same warning therefore not be given to pro-Palestinian marchers as well, and that actually if everyone just cooled their heels and stepped back, that might be the better approach?
Well, thank you very much, Kevin and Alex, for having me on the programme. So I've been going to Gaza for the last 10 years, and I come from a humanitarian doctor angle. I'm not a police expert, I'm not a military strategist or anything of that sort, or counter-terrorism. What I can tell you is Armistice Day has been there to commemorate the dead from every conflict. So World War I, World War II. My own grandparents, I'm a British Egyptian, my own grandparents fought for the British in World War II on the Egyptian front against the German army. And personally, I do not see any issue with people commemorating the dead for every conflict that has happened. If anything, tomorrow is an opportunity for people to come together and actually look at what is happening in Gaza in 2023 with hospitals, healthcare facilities, citizens being bombed. en masse by the Israeli government, and it's continuing. Children are being blown to smithereens. That is what is happening. And it's actually a good opportunity for people to come together and say, enough is enough. Why are we, in 2023, undergoing the same sort of violence that happened in these major conflicts? This humanitarian catastrophe that has happened is on a level that has never occurred in the last half century. In the last half century, we have never seen this degree of annihilation of a people. And that is what is happening on our watch. So, frankly...
So it would have been nice if Hamas didn't start it, right?
So...
And what about in the Yemen?
Yeah.
With the Saudi relentless bombing of the Yemeni people?
So...
That's an even greater
I'll just answer
humanitarian.
first, Kevin, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So, in terms of Hamas and Hamas starting it, you know, what happened on 7th of October is deplorable. I have friends who have hostages inside Gaza. So just to let you know, I've got a foot in both camps, you know. I'm not pro-Palestinian, pro-Israeli, I'm pro-human life. That is my position. I made that very clear. So what is very important is the context, and this is, history did not start on the 7th of October. The history of Palestine started in 1948, and there has been, and I'm sorry,
Omar,
let me finish what I'm saying.
over October the 7th. We can't say things
I'm not brushing over, sorry.
What happened.
Okay, so what I'm saying is there was a siege and blockade of Gaza that has been ongoing for 17 years. Gaza was not even on their map, the political map, up until the 7th of October. No one gave a monkey's, to be frank, about Gaza up until 7th of October. And the bombing and the attempt by the Israeli government to annihilate Hamas. This has happened on 6 separate occasions since 2007.
Not a bad idea, though, is it?
So collateral
Not a good
damage.
idea, though. Good idea.
Collateral damage.
But good idea to destroy Hamas. You agree with that?
Collateral damage.
You agree?
Let me answer the question.
No. Answer this question. Do you agree it's a good idea to destroy
and kill
Hamas?
Civilians in hospitals and bomb hospitals and kill hundreds of thousands of people?
So
that's an excuse.
So your line is that you want Hamas to survive.
No, I'm not saying Hamas should survive. I'm saying that the answer to this is not to have a conflict and kill 5,000 children, 4,500 children, and leave 1,000 under the rubble. Yesterday, I was speaking to a doctor inside Al Shifa Hospital. There were screams from women and children because they were bombing the hospital. In front of me, I saw live pictures sent to me of a child coming through the door in an ambulance. Half his head was blown off. And the same doctor told me that on a shift, one of his female colleagues came in, who was pregnant, with her 3-year-old son next to her and her baby inside her tummy. All 3 were killed by an Israeli airstrike. Her husband had a shrapnel wound to the spine
there's lots
and
of
was
horror.
paralyzed.
There are loads of horror stories on both sides of the fence. So it would be a good idea, would it not, Omar, for Hamas to do what Israel wants, to release all the hostages, then there will be a ceasefire. How about that?
So is that actually what's happened? Have you seen what the Israelis... No, hang on. Have you seen what the Israelis have said?
They're saying if Hamas releases all of the hostages...
Sorry, but you must have seen, the media have...
Well, answer the question. Is it a good idea?
No, I'm trying to tell you that Hamas...
you're not answering the question.
Hamas have tried to release hostages, and the Israeli government have been on record shown in media leaks to have refused to take hostages.
Media leaks, OK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry that's not on your network, but that's on every other respectable network out there.
But why don't they release all of the hostages? That's what
I'm not a hostage negotiator.
Do you think it's a good idea?
I'm talking from a humanitarian side.
Well, the humanitarian side will be served.
Says that
if Hamas releases
you're just not letting me speak, are you?
Because you're not answering the question. Is it a good idea for Hamas to release all of the hostages, because then there will be the ceasefire that everybody wants?
Do you genuinely think that releasing hostages is going to lead to a ceasefire? Do you genuinely believe that when you say that?
Well,
I'm sorry, but that is not what is happening. If hostages are released, and they should be released...
You don't think it's a good idea?
I think they should be released, but at the same time, I think there has to be a ceasefire immediately, because the British government, the President Biden, every Western leader has been warmongering and allowing Israel to get away with pure murder